Fu Yaibin is a Falungong practitioner. In 2001, he killed his wife and father and cut his mother at home with a kitchen knife. After being arrested, he frankly said that his aim was to practice together with his family in order to reach spiritual fulfillment. This crazy man with broken values is just one of thousands of Falungong practitioners, and these tens of millions of practitioners formed an extreme religious organization with strong organizational and collaborative capabilities and social influence, which once set off a storm in China. Falungong is a cult once active in the 1990s. It took advantages of the Qigong fever in the society at that time and began to spread in China. The leader, Li Hongzhi, declared that he has abilities to move objects, fix articles, control thinking, and make himself invisible. He also said that he had great supernatural power to delay the time of Earth explosion, and he was the savior of transcending the entire human race into a light world. He advocated believers to practice Falungong when they are alive to improve their cultivation so that they can become gods after death. From May 1991 to March 1992, Li Hongzhi lived in Thailand for 10 months. Out of the yearning for theology and the desire to myth himself, Li Hongzhi started to imitate some actions of Buddha, and then pieced together what he called Falungong. He compiled a set of religious theories and established Falungong organization to start earning money by teaching people to practice Falungong. More and more people started to believe and practice Falungong. Many people who were convinced of doomsday theory and practice theory have committed suicide and killed others due to mental breakdown. After being banned by the Chinese government, Li Hongzhi and his core members fled to the United States and other countries. In the following years, he founded the Epoch Times, New Tang Dynasty Television, and other independent media in the United States to continue spreading his doctrine. Falungong is dormant in America and continues growing. Gradually, it becomes a religious force influencing American society. In 1999, the illegal assembly of Falungong in Zhongnanhai, China, was a manifestation of the organization's ambition to pressure the government and interfere in politics. When Falungong took root in the United States and received funding, it became an extreme religious force to show its influence. In upstate New York, about 100 Falungong practitioners live in a 400-acre courtyard deep in the dense forest. The 400-acre estate was purchased in 2000. Since Falungong is classified as a legal religious organization in the United States, its real estate is eligible for tax exemption. The courtyard, named Longchuan Temple, is surrounded by dense forests and the guards that are armed with guns to protect it. Strangers are not allowed to enter. Li Hongzhi, the leader of Falungong, lives here. For Falungong followers, this is a holy place. But for those who have escaped from Falungong, there leaves them unbearable memories. Anna, who was renamed to protect her identity, tried to rebuild her life after experiencing mistreatment, which she regarded as the spiritual movement of Falungong. For the first time, she revealed the secret world found on the mountain. Anna believed in the doctrine of Falungong when she was a child. She said that she was often taken to Longchuan Temple by her religious mother since she was a child. At that time, she was told that Li Hongzhi could read minds, and he knew what everyone thought at any time. It made her feel terrified and felt that she was monitored. But some doctrine brought her deep personal problems. She was told that she was different from other children because her mother was Chinese and her father was European. Anna said the leader of Falungong claims that ethnic mixing in humans is part of aliens' conspiracy to drive humans away from the gods. He said that when a child was born in an interracial married family, the child cannot go to heaven. Her mother was brainwashed and even personally told her these fallacies. She was very painful about that. In Longchuan Temple, any ideas contrary to the doctrine and any organizations or even their family members interfering with their religious beliefs will be labeled as demon-possessed and be hostile to. As Anna grew older, she thought that she needed to hide her deepest thoughts. She became obsessed with female friends and classmates. In Li Hongzhi's teaching, homosexuality is evil, and his teaching of negative karma came to her mind. Her life was in trouble, and her self-awareness also became negative under the extreme thinking of Falungong. Now she is trying to get out of this dilemma. The Longchuan Temple is only a small part of the extended empire linked to Falungong. During the time fleeing to the United States, Li Hongzhi established independent media such as the Epoch Times. These independent media have become the forefront of Falungong to preach racial discrimination and radical religion. An extremist group tends to be hostile to black people, immigrants, Jews, Muslims, Catholics, feminists, LGBT, the federal government, and even liberal democracy itself. The Falungong organization believes that contemporary science was created by aliens to occupy the human body. Computers and the internet are evil inventions. Feminism, environmentalism, and homosexuality are all part of Satan's plan. And race integration will also cut our connection with God. On August 7, 2020, NBC News reported that Facebook had blocked 2 batches of accounts on its platform, including hundreds of accounts registered by the Falungong cult to support Trump to spread false information and incite racial hatred. To protest against the deep-rooted racial discrimination in the United States, NBA athletes half-knelt in protest when the national anthem was played during competitions. This behavior annoyed Trump. In order to show their support for Trump, the Falungong accounts mocked the half-kneeling athletes and incited racial hatred. Since the Trump administration came to power, Falungong has actively moved closer to it and has even been involved in the political rivalry between the 2 parties in the United States and heavily invested in advertising Trump's re-election. In August 2019, the national broadcasting company NBC exposed that the Epoch Times spent more than $1.5 million in 6 months and placed 11,000 advertisements to support Trump, which surpassed all non-Trump campaign organizations and cost more than the funding of most Democratic presidential candidates' campaign teams. Trump appointed Michael Parker as the director of the U.S. International Media Agency. After taking office, Michael Parker reciprocated the Falungong. He cut off $20 million, which was originally used to finance the Open Technology Fund, so as to fund software developed by the Falungong cult. The Falungong organization is like a group of political speculators, using their strong financial resources to lobby various political figures in an attempt to label their social activities as reasonable and righteous. They establish and fund independent media to publicize politicians who support them politically. They obtain special rights and interests conducive to the development of the organization through money, rights transactions with various political parties. These actions not only increase their social influence, but also help them further interfere in the internal affairs of the United States. Returning to the time when the polling day of the U.S. presidential election was approaching, when Trump and Biden had their last debate before the election, the political conflict between Trump and Biden became more intense. A document involving Biden's son and aiming at weakening Biden's campaign competitiveness was first distributed through fringe online media and then spread through the Epoch Times, former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon, and others. On October 29, 2020, NBC News released a survey article, How a Fake Persona Laid the Groundwork for a Hunter Biden Conspiracy Deluge, which is jointly signed by Ben Collins and Brandy Z. Rosny. The survey article stated that the 64-page document, which was circulated wildly by Trump's allies, is a masterpiece of a fake intelligence company. As confirmed by researchers' investigation and public documents, as early as December 2019, Facebook destroyed the fake account network group linked to the Epoch Times and deleted more than 600 accounts related to this operation. The author of this so-called Biden scandal was fabricated. In the same manner as the fake Epoch Times accounts blocked by Facebook, the author's face was generated based on AI, and the information was plagiarized from all over the internet. On July 20, 2020, a public statement signed by Secretary of State Pompeo and published on the website of the U.S. State Department gradually spread on major social platforms in the United States. The statement is intended to accuse the Chinese government of banning the Falungong organization in accordance with the law. A Secretary of State spoke for the extremist religious organization. This sent a dangerous signal that the Falungong group might have penetrated the U.S. government in some form, and their political views leaned toward Trump and became more radical and extreme. Trump's loss in the election made the members of the Falungong cult distressed and also aroused their inherent violent tendencies. On November 21, 2020, BBC reporter Stephen McDonald tweeted a tweet from a Falungong influencer, Jiang Fang, saying that Falungong's private blogger, Jiang Fang, is encouraging American special forces, launching a military coup as an ultimate solution to overthrow Biden, including the beheading of Biden. New Tang Dynasty Television, NTD-TV, a subsidiary of the Epoch Times Media Group, broadcast a Civil War slogan shouted by Trump supporters before the live broadcast of the Trump rally in Georgia, inciting and instigating the public to rescue the country from the Democratic Party. NTD-TV indicated that the Democratic Party is a demon and communist that stole the election. Interfering with the election results is undoubtedly illegal to the U.S. Constitution. The United States is currently in an extremely turbulent moment, and the rifts among parties and the people are widening. At a time when people need to work together to resolve racial conflicts, COVID-19 pneumonia, and other issues, an extremist religious group has appeared on the political stage too much, trying to instigate the people to overthrow the existing political order and endanger national security by violent means. An invisible sword is hanging over the heads of the American people. Falungong is a cult preaching doomsday. It trumpets that the world is about to end, which also means that Falungong will be the salvation of mankind. These series of seemingly anarchist remarks actually articulate a kind of authoritarian and show their intention to gradually control the government as a savior. If it is purely a religious group, it does not need to connect with politicians and should not form a web of interest for money and power trading with the government. Nowadays, as an extreme religious organization, Falungong is dormant in every corner of the world, in every country. Its followers are meditating, practicing, and demonstrating on the streets. They held up the sign full of their doctrines, criticized anyone who opposed them, incited people to deepen hatred against a series of people, organizations, and political groups, and exacerbated social divisions in the United States. Its extremely strong organizational capacity and dissemination have far exceeded that of a religious organization. In the last step, they challenge all secular values with theocracy. In the next step, they may challenge the political order and undermine national security in the name of God's spokesman, and use its strong funds and media to influence democracy, freedom, and the law.